When I was 8, I participated in my first English essay writing competition, and then I went on to my first declamation contest, and I just started winning things, and it just felt like a natural progression towards doing something in writing, in journalism, in speaking. So when it came to time to actually choose the subject that I wanted to study when it came to university, the first negative comment I got from a relative was شو بتستوين إن شاء الله مذيعة, which is basically something that nobody who wants to obviously progress their education wants to hear from a family member, and albeit a female family member as well. Surprisingly enough, the people who did support me in my family, starting from my mother, said do whatever it is that you want to do, and I wound up studying up communications and journalism, and I minored in English, which also gives me an uber strength in the writing skills, and I did actually do MC time as well as be a TV presenter for 1 year of my career, but the motivation that I always had was, just do what feels right. My mother never got to finish college, and the one thing that she always kept saying was, I want all of my children to be able to at least get their bachelor's degree, and then after that, whatever it is that you want to do to pursue your studies. And I think that motivation just resonated throughout my life, throughout my career, and I think that's just stuck with me till today. I always look back and I think that was the one singular thing that she said to all of us, and it's just stuck with me, and I'm happy that I actually listened to her. Passion is something that you actually feel very strongly about. Today, unfortunately, if you say you want to be an artist or a photographer, I think people think those things are very mediocre in comparison to high-paying jobs like being a lawyer or being an engineer. This project, for example, I think is somebody's passion, and it grew to be other people's passion as well. And if people view it in a negative sense, saying, oh, it's a waste of time, which generally is kind of something that happens in our part of the region, where people just dismiss it because they think it's a waste of time, I think you should dismiss those comments. And I think that's, in summary, that's what your passion is. It's just going for something that you actually truly believe in. You want to put the effort in it. You're ready to sell your house or to close up your bank account just to make it work, because you know that tomorrow you will reap the benefits of it. I think a lot of people today do a lot of things just for the sake of doing it and don't have a lot of passion for the things that they do. I think if you have the passion from a young age, or even if your passion starts when you're 30 or 40, it's just keeping up with that passion and actually pursuing it, not for anybody else, not for publicity, not for approving, your parents' vision of you becoming, an astronomer or a doctor. Just do what makes you feel right, and if that's your passion, then go ahead with it. But if you don't believe in it yourself, then I would suggest don't go with it. The future is, a lot of it is actually here. I think a lot of people misinterpret that this region actually has very supportive sectors for women. Normally, and I always say this actually whenever I talk to people about women empowerment, the people who put you down the most are actually other women. It's never the men. The comment I made about the family member who didn't want me to pursue journalism, it was an aunt of mine, and she thought as a 16-year-old who would graduate that it would be better for me to get engaged to one of my cousins, so I wouldn't have to go to the US all by myself. But what she didn't realize is that by making that comment, that she was disempowering herself. I think today you have the right strategies in place, the right support from government, from the private sectors, even from families themselves, your fathers, your uncles, your siblings, your moms, who actually say, you know what, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Instead of us segregating young girls from a young age by saying, oh, you know, don't play with cars, or you know, play with the doll instead. And comments like, oh, إن شاء الله بتشوفك عروس أو بتشوف عيالك. I think we should always say, you know what, إن شاء الله أشوفك board member. يعني why don't we say that to our girls? Why do we always segregate the boys and the girls? I have 2 sons, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, one day Allah might give me a girl, but you know, and if he doesn't, it's fine. But if she wants to play with toy cars, well, heck, you know, she could be a future engineer. So that's empowerment to me. It's not about just having X number of jobs allotted in a company for women. It's not about just hiring women and then giving them 2 positions in a director or CXO level. It's empowering them from when they're very young, so that when my daughter turns 22, she doesn't think, oh, I'm gonna get married, you know, in another couple of years and I'll have 5 kids. You can be a board member and get married and have kids as well. You know, empowerment just has to start at home more than anything else, and then everybody else will just support it, including the society and the system. Of course we can do it. Together we can definitely do it. نحن قادرات.